Dirt Trax is sponsored by CanAm. The ride says it all. Polaris, the hardest working, smoothest riding off-road vehicles. And by Yamaha Motor Canada. What kind of Yamaha are you?
There are countless places you could go to ride your ATV on this continent, but there's only a handful of places you should go, and Hatfield McCoy is definitely right at the top of that list. Honestly, I'd say I'm a bit of an expert on this topic as well because I've ridden all over North America. Furthermore, I've spent considerable time at Hatfield McCoy itself. I've met tons of fans, a few celebrities, and of course I've ridden with other people from the industry itself. I've ridden every trail system in the Hatfield McCoy network, and I've even had a chance to preview the new Pocahontas trail system last season before it was open. So my reasons for coming back to Hatfield McCoy for this trip are really twofold. First, the Pocahontas trail system officially opened to the public last month, and I really wanted to see how it had evolved from our preview ride last season to the full functioning trail system this season, and really get a feel for what sets that trail system apart from the rest of the trails in the Hatfield McCoy network. Second, this season Dirt Trax TV started working more closely with Diamondback Truck Covers. And as we've been dealing with them on some projects, we came to realize that these guys are a lot like us. They're outdoor enthusiasts who just like to get out and basically get dirty. I wanted to take Ethan and Matt from Diamondback on an ATV trip so I could spend some time getting to know them, learning about their company, and giving them a chance to get to know Dirt Trax better as well. Hatfield McCoy was just the perfect backdrop.
Matt and I met at Penn State University. We were both engineering students. Matt was a mechanical engineer, I was a civil engineer. And we met in a class for engineering entrepreneurship. It was really about how to take the engineering principles that you learn and turn them into making products or things for business. Matt's a very creative guy, very hands-on, can design and build anything. He had already developed a product for his truck that was essentially the Diamondback Truck Cover, a rudimentary form of it.
When I got to college, that was the first time I had really had any significant amount of money to spend, and the first thing I did was I bought a four-wheel drive pickup truck. I really wasn't happy with any of the other products on the market, so I found another alternative. I had an idea to make my own truck bed cover. I bought a sheet of diamond plate. I actually cut it with a circular saw in my dad's driveway, and I put it on the truck bed and traced it, and I put it together with some crappy weather strip and bolts and hinges I could find around there. I had so overbuilt it that I realized I could walk on it. And then, hey, I can actually put things on here. So I added tie downs and I was hauling things, and wherever I would go, it would attract attention and people would be comment about how cool it was and what a great idea they thought it was. After Ethan and I met in the entrepreneurship class, we actually had a final project due. And we had a couple options, and basically the premise of it was that we were to develop a product and how would we market it, do some research and make a business plan around this product. Ethan was pretty excited about the truck cover. I think he actually believed in it more than I did. He saw some potential there that I didn't.
We needed to do a class project to build a company, and really liked the stuff that I had seen that he had made during the class and his work in the class. Knew that I wanted to work with him, and so we joined forces for the project and have basically been working together ever since. The guys at Dirt Trax have been using our covers for years, and it's really worked well, and we were really excited this year to actually jump in with Dirt Trax and work with them more closely, get to know the guys a little bit better. So when Luke and the gang suggested that we come down and ride at Hatfield McCoy, we were thrilled.
Our trip this week was based out of the small town of Bramwell, West Virginia. One of the things we all commented on after seeing the town is how clean and well kept it is, and the fact that it's only about 20 minutes from the small city of Princeton leaves you feeling like you're never far away from anything you could possibly need. A couple things that make the Pocahontas system unique is that it's the most easterly located system of the Hatfield McCoy network in the state of West Virginia. So if you're traveling from the east, you're going to run into the Pocahontas system first and cut down your drive time. The other thing that makes it unique is that it's one of 3 systems in the Hatfield McCoy network that are connected together. So if you start at Pocahontas, you can ride straight to Indian Ridge via a connector trail and then on to Pinnacle Creek via another connector trail and have access to over 300 miles of Hatfield McCoy trails with varying terrain and all the different amenities, gas stops, rest stops, anything you could possibly need, all from one convenient location. And that's not just unique to Hatfield McCoy, that's unique to any riding system in North America, as far as I'm concerned.
We've been riding at Hatfield McCoy pretty much from day one. I mean, we were probably a 2 or 3 year old business. It's really the largest trail system on the East Coast. Riding opportunities are very limited in Pennsylvania, so it was natural for us to just come here. It's a short drive.
The terrain here is phenomenal. You got to be careful because it's so steep that you can go off a cliff if you're not watching. But you're up and down. You're seeing different mountains. The views are incredible. So just a lot of different diversity in the ride that we were able to do yesterday, and just beautiful country to ride in. I mean, I don't ride out west, and I'm sure that they've got some beauty out there. But for the East Coast is about as beautiful a place as I can think to ride.
Our ride today took us clear across the Pocahontas Trail system to the Ashland Campground. On our way, we found some mud, we found a ton of dust, we found some steep rocky sections to challenge everybody. We had a blast. We managed to stop a few times and check out the scenery and have some opportunities to just talk and converse and spend some time with each other. There are a lot of unique aspects to Pocahontas, and there's a lot of similar things that will make you feel right at home and make it very clear that this is a Hatfield McCoy trail system. One of the coolest aspects of this trip that really highlights some amazing opportunities now that Pinnacle Creek, Indian Ridge, and Pocahontas are connected was our lunch stop. When we hit the Ashland Campgrounds just outside the town of Ashland itself, we were now on the Indian Ridge system. Being able to cover this much ground in a day is something I've never been able to do on an ATV, and the Ashland Campground was the perfect setting for a trailside lunch, which gave us more time to get to know each other.
I strongly believe that it's imperative that people understand that when you see a product, that there is a person associated with that product. It came from somewhere. I think everyone gets this illusion that everything is just a large corporation and no one really cares anymore. But we're not extinct. There are still people that are making and developing things that actually care and actually use the product.
One of the things that impressed me about Matt and Ethan is that they're really just a couple of down-to-earth guys. They're not a big corporation. They're not ruthless businessmen just out to make a buck. They're a couple of outdoor enthusiasts who wanted to make a product that people like them would appreciate. On top of that, they're just a pair of really cool guys whose personalities meshed perfectly with us from the Dirt Trax crew, and we got along really well.
One of the advantages of being out on the trails with the guys from Dirt Trax especially is we were able to just kind of see, the way they are, how they talk, the way they, their differences. They don't say A as much as we thought they might say it. And we're from the States, they're from Canada. We can talk a lot about joking back and forth. And they were just a really great bunch of guys to get to know. You see people on television, you never know if that's, that their persona, that's what they put on when they're on TV or not. Certainly from our standpoint, they see us as just a product until they meet us. And really being able to see the kind of the people behind the two companies and their passion for the sport and their passion for what they do and our passion for our products and what we do and really kind of bringing those together and getting to know each other has just been a great experience for us down here in Hatfield. And I think it's going to be one that we can continue on for years to come and be in contact with the guys and really kind of grow that relationship as we see them at other shows and other events and hopefully do some rides in the future.
That's kind of the magic of Hatfield McCoy for me. This is where outdoor enthusiasts go to meet because it offers the perfect blend of riding and socializing. Whether it be business acquaintances, family, or friends, ATVing is as much about riding as it is about the people. Fortunately for me, I've had many opportunities over the years to combine riding with great people. It just so happens a lot of those experiences were on Hatfield McCoy trails.
When I think of the CanAm Commander, the 1000cc Rotax almost always comes to mind.
And since I do like power and have access to the biggest and baddest side-by-sides in the industry, the smaller displacement rides almost always get overlooked. Big bore is, well, almost always big fun, and CanAm offers Commander buyers 2 big bore choices. So while I did set you up to think there might be a smaller displacement Commander, I'm really just talking about the 800, which, truth be told, as the smallest available Commander, has half the side-by-side industry beat in the displacement category. The 800 Commander has always come in 2 trim levels, the base package and XT, and CanAm has reserved the Limited and X package to the 1000cc Rotax only, making their highest level offerings truly premium in every way. Now, while the 800 has been foreshadowed by the daunting 1K Rotax, the truth is the 800 has been around much longer, received praise for its outstanding, wholesome power, and is tried and true thanks to a long run in the Outlander ATV lineup. In other words, what I'm trying to say is you don't have to justify purchasing the lower displacement 800. It's a great motor with a solid reputation. 200 cc's is a pretty standard displacement variation for different motor segments, but I found that the 800cc Rotax truly adds up to more than the sum of its parts, especially when you compare it to other competitive non-pure sport models from other manufacturers. In the sport utility side-by-side segment, the 800 Rotax hauls the mail. Its low-end V-twin torque is everything I've ever needed out on the trails, accelerates with adequate forward momentum out of the corners, breaks the rear tire's contact with earth easily, and as with all Rotax twin motors, sounds great no matter what RPM, speed, or direction you hear the vehicle from. When looking at the speed that I ride trails at, I never once felt the need for more power than the 800 offered. Sure, with the 1000 I could break the rear tires loose a little quicker or squat the rear end a little harder, but truth be told, I'd take the 800 head-to-head on any trail out there. But there are a few downfalls. I'm still not sold on drive-by-wire and wish the response to my throttle input was a little more crisp. This is slightly more noticeable on the 800 that does have a little less torque, while on the flip side in low range, I love the way the reduced power of the 800 crawls smooth and easy and isn't jumpy at all when maneuvering at low speeds like the 1000. While it may sound like I'm focused solely on the engine, it's because the difference between the 800 and 1000 XT Commander is strictly the engine. The XT package's upgraded Maxxis Bighorn 2.0 tires look aggressive and gnarly and are a great set of rubber. They help the 800 to grab the ground and propel you forwards when you stab the throttle, but they do increase the steering effort required. The XT package gets you the stout Bighorn tires, purdy looking 14-inch aluminum rims, a front bush bar with a 4,000-pound worn winch that includes a glove box plug for the included wire remote, fender flares that significantly change the way the Commander looks over the base and are worth every penny, along with a custom steering wheel, digital and analog gauge, and custom bed rails for tying your gear down, as well as adding some visual appeal to the rear end of the Commander. If I'm looking at buying a Commander, the XT package is very high up on my list of wants. Now, you are going to add a little bit of weight to your ride, but the pros far outweigh both the price and weight penalty that you're going to pay. While you may never get your Commander stuck, wait, if you never get your Commander stuck, take your loafers off and try getting a little mud on the tires. And when you realize you bit off more than you can chew, the 4,000-pound worn winch is like finding a bottle of water in the middle of the Sahara Desert. You'll never regret having it, and hey, if you do like to keep your jersey clean, at least you can help pull out your buddies who get in over their heads. A winch on a sport utility is like Junior in a Chevy. You can't imagine it any other way. When you're sitting in the driver's seat of a Commander, you're going to notice a few features that you may not find elsewhere from competitive brands. And these things are placed high up on the value meter by discerning riders who are making the buying decision. Quality fit and finish is what I'm referring to. The cockpit of a Commander is almost automotive, from the side nets with seatbelt clips, the push-button start, fully skirted console and footwell area, the dash with integrated toggles, car-like center-of-wheel instrument gauges, and a drop-down glove box with the owner's manual, toolkit, and winch remote are just a few things that truly make you feel like you're behind the wheel of a quality-built vehicle that's been designed with you in mind. The one thing I really wanted to get across in this test ride is that you don't have to be blinded by the biggest horsepower available or the largest displacement motor on paper. In the off-road side-by-side world, there are few places you'll use any more power than what this 800cc Rotax has to offer. You know, it doesn't really matter how new and cool your ATV is. When it's equipped with all stock parts, you're gonna look like pretty much everybody else out there. And those same stock parts aren't designed to push the limits of your ATV or side-by-side. And here at Trax TV, we're all about pushing the limits. Tires and rims have to be the #1 aftermarket accessory for ATVs and side-by-sides. And while our Outlander 1000 XT does have a pretty nice looking set from the factory, we want to stand out in the crowd and enhance our off-road capabilities with larger diameter, more aggressive rubber. Now, a company like STI knows about cool looking rims and aggressive rubber and hooked us up with this 28-inch set of Silverback X lights and 14-inch aluminum rims. And while they are only 2 inches larger than our stock 26s, they are way more aggressive. We decided to use 4 10-inch wide matching tires on this build, as we believe the ability to rotate tires is important. It evens out wear, while a narrower rear tire also allows for better mud running capabilities. And since we plan to use this beast in some gnarly situations, I want to be sure I've got a belt that's ready to transfer the 1-liter Rotax's power to the ground and turn these 28-inch X lights no matter what terrain we encounter. Fact is, stock belts are great for just that, stock bikes or mild terrain. But if you're running larger or more aggressive tires, are playing a lot in the mud, or climbing steep rocky sections at lower speeds, then you know what? You need to upgrade your belt. Don't believe me? Well, consider this. On your CVT-equipped ATV, the true link between the motor and power getting to the wheels is your belt. It takes all that abuse you deliver by running in high range when you should have been in low, brake torquing wheelies when showing off, wheel spinning torque loads when roosting out of a corner, and belt burning dryout sessions when you get the water or mud up to the clutch snorkel. Since we have the 1000cc Rotax under the seat, I've decided to use the XTX belt because it's built for extreme torque, targeted at the most demanding rider who's going to use their ATV in the most demanding terrain and require longevity. A belt change is something most ATVers can do on their own, in the comfort of your garage or out in the yard. However, we all know the horror stories of trailside belt changes when a stock belt has been abused for too long. You don't want to be in this situation ever. And while you may be thinking, why change a brand new or good-looking belt? It's the same reason you put on a set of more aggressive tires and replace your mildly worn stockers. They aren't built for the job you're asking them to do. Dayco belts go through the most stringent quality control and grueling testing to ensure that they'll perform no matter what you throw at them. And just because your belt isn't something you look at on a daily basis, doesn't mean it's something that should be overlooked. The XTX belt is built utilizing Kevlar and high-temperature neoprene to increase strength. Tested in excess of 12,000 RPM, the XTX reduces slippage in high torque load situations, increases the responsiveness of engine braking, stays cooler thanks to its rib top design, and increases acceleration at mid and top end engine RPM. Boiled down, an XTX belt will outperform a stalker, delivering notable performance gains. With the clutch cover still off our Outlander, I want to take the time to regain the horsepower that we lost due to the 2-inch diameter increase in our tire size. We've got the belt to handle anything that we can throw at it, so in next week's episode, I'm going to show you how we can regain that power that we've lost.
So is it the ATV business we're in, or is it the side-by-side business we're in? About 5 years ago, a guy by the name of Matt Homan, he's a big shot at Polaris, he told me that he thought within 5 years, side-by-side sales would rival the sales of ATVs. At that time, I thought he was nuts, but guess what? He's a bit of a visionary, because this year we're seeing side-by-side sales spike, and they are selling unbelievable in most markets across North America. ATV sales are still there, but the side-by-side market is growing in leaps and bounds. And that's why this year we've changed our mixture on Trax television so that we can reflect more clearly what you're interested in. And by the way, you seem to be really interested in side-by-sides.
Can't get enough of Trax television? Log on to DirtTraxTV.com to watch all your favorite episodes and visit our Facebook page to share your thoughts with other fans of Trax. Trax television has been sponsored by Polaris, the hardest working, smoothest riding off-road vehicles. CanAm, the ride says it all. And by Arctic Cat, share our passion.